5 centuries of the history of news gathering is presented every day at the Newseum, the Museum of News in Washington, D.C. It's a fascinating and comprehensive museum that takes visitors behind the scenes of the world of journalism, and it's a subject of this edition's cover story.
The Newseum is located in a most prominent location in Washington, D.C., on Pennsylvania Avenue between the U.S. Capitol and the White House. It has 250,000 square feet of space and 7 levels of galleries, theaters, and exhibits. The Newseum opened at this spot in 2008, having previously been in Arlington, Virginia for nearly 5 years until 2002. There are 14 main exhibition galleries that cover the full gamut of the history of news, from the invention of the printing press to the instant electronic means of transmitting news today.
Well, we cover 5 centuries of news history here at the Newseum, more than 500 years, but really from that big bang moment when the printing press was invented, which people forget what an astonishing moment in history and what a revolutionary moment in history it was to have the printed word available to the masses. And from that moment forward to the most up-to-date cell phone technology that people use to get news today, the Newseum covers it all.
The Newseum also prides itself on being an ever-changing and up-to-date museum. Some displays, like the one that runs throughout 2012, are predictable. Called Every 4 Years, it takes an in-depth look at the way various news media outlets cover presidential elections. There are plenty of historic photos and displays depicting the changing nature of the way Americans followed presidential campaigns through the years. From the days of early radio to the first televised presidential debates in 1960. But there's also an emphasis on the new media that took hold in 2008, and a recognition that even comedy shows are now part of how people follow presidential campaigns. Another way the Newseum keeps up to date is by printing front pages from newspapers from across America and around the world. Every day, 80 front pages are printed and displayed at one of the most popular exhibits in the museum. They are among 800 transmitted to the Newseum each day. The printed pages are rotated, with the others available digitally at various museum locations. There's a special wall of photographs of journalists who have lost their lives in pursuit of telling stories from around the world. And giants of journalism like Edward R. Murrow are remembered. So is the late Tim Russert of NBC News in a display that contains his desk and other memorabilia. And on many Sundays, ABC's This Week program originates in a studio in the Newseum with the Capitol visible in the background. But the Newseum is not just for journalists.
This isn't just a place for people who are in the news industry. Everybody is a news consumer, and so everybody who comes through the walls is, whether they thought they would be or not, is touched by the news on a daily basis.
It's clear that the Newseum lives up to its mission every day, telling the stories about how the professionals tell the stories of our lives. Join us on our video journeys each season as Sentimental Reflections presents America's heritage in story, scenery, and song. For more information about the video magazine or to become a subscriber, call 1-800-762-0338 or visit us online at sentimental.cc.